Slurpty-derp, my G's. I really love to use nature sounds, natural sounds, Foley sounds in my tracks. I do it on most tracks. Sometimes I forget, but it's always good. The great thing about many natural sounds and Foley sounds is they're atonal. So what that obviously means is they don't all have a particular pitch. So you can use them across the board on all of your tracks, you know. And what I really love about natural sounds is when you can find a nice dynamic movement that's, you know, within nature already, and how can you apply that movement to give life to your pre-existing song, you know. So here I've got 5 nature sounds. A couple of them do have like a pitch on them, because obviously some sounds will have a natural pitch, but we can start with 5 sounds and how I would use them. And these literally 5 sounds, like I just pulled out, like, you know, straight away without even thinking, and you can get them all to work. So here, firstly, we got a little intro beat going on here, and I've already got like quite a few things in my intro, like some flutes, some like sort of soft drums, some little synth parts. Sounds like this at the moment. Okay, now we're going to add in some natural sounds. Firstly, we're going to start with a fireplace. This is great because it's going to give you that high-end texture and crackle, and it's very soft. And there's a couple of things we could do to give it a little bit more interest, and that is, well, when I say interest, I mean space. So we can give it a bit of reverb, for example. Push it further back a little bit. You get a little. I've left it on 50%, so we get a little bit of that, the dry crackle of the fire. Still, it's not completely all wet. Completely drown the fire with water. So that puts it into more of a space. And then, great thing like this for intros. You know, all this rumble. You know, you might want that in there. I've already got other sounds that are doing jobs in the low end, so. And the cool thing about the fire that I like is the high-end crackly bits. So I might just take it up to like 1K and then have that. And then I've got a lovely high-end texture, which is obviously, you know, if I load up my span, a lot of times your intro might be missing some frequencies in the high end. And there's one great way, like vinyl crackle as well, for example, but... One great way you could add in a bit of real high-end content with some Foley. Yeah, so that's great. Just turn it down a little bit as well here. Where we have these like little peaks, where sometimes the fire crackle is like super loud, you know, that would be a perfect reason to compress this file then. So I'll apply some compression on this one. Just so anytime those peaks... Anytime those real peaks get too loud, the compressor will just deal with that. So I'll turn that down a bit. Take a little bit of reverb off. Very subtle, but a nice bit of texture in the high end there. Next, we can add in some bubbles, some water as a impact splash. So here, for example, on the downbeat at beat 9 here, we can use this little kind of water effect. And this one is definitely sounding a little bit too dry for me. So I think this one is really going to help. It's really going to sound a lot better with a bunch of reverb on. So let's really reverb this one out. With this free Valhalla Supermassive, this one's great. You can EQ the reverb, so you can just have the high end, and then again, so it's kind of like, you know, almost like a white noise kind of splash. Essentially, it's just like a bit more interesting because it's made from Foley, so it's just slightly different to, you know, just using pure white noise. Makes it a bit more soft and natural. So you might not even know at some point. You might not even notice that it was originally Foley, but just using that as the sound source is going to be just nicer for the ears than pure white noise sometimes. So got a great little white noise splash made from water, and I could probably reuse that like a few times, maybe even on my drop later on as well. But yeah, that's one sound effect done. And now we can do something using a bit of air, a bit of a swish. So this is just from taking like a wooden stick and quickly doing like a swishing motion. And that would be great for like a reverse sound effect, like just before the downbeat, but it could be reversed going into a snare, or just like a little reverse before, as I said, the downbeat, like this. And so, for example, here, again, we can add just a tiny bit of reverb again, maybe a bit less for this one. And perhaps we could also add a bit of delay on this one if I feel like it's a little bit too short at this part. So added a bit of delay here. Okay, I like that. And then we'll just take the mix down a bit on that delay. Yeah, nice extra movement in your track that will just add a little bit of complexity. Again, we'll just EQ out the low end a bit, put that at the end. Okay, I might just use that one time. I don't necessarily want to repeat that one many times, but that's a great sound there. I could maybe use it once or twice more throughout the rest of the track. And then let's go on to the drums. A couple of things we could add into our actual drum beat is, for example, I found this this metal sound effect here, like I don't know, like a sword hitting the anchor. I don't know, a metal clank. Give me a break. Anyway, that could be great for like a layering up a hi-hat, So I thought I could I've got a little hi-hat loop that starts here. And I do this on quite a lot of tracks, have like little metal sound effects, little metal clanks to go with the hats, So just every now and again, little metal clank to go on my hat. And again, I can just take out a bit of low. I've already turned it down quite a lot, but that definitely gives that part now a bit of extra variation in my little hi-hat loop. Okay, it probably needs a little bit of extra reverb, this one here. It's a little bit dry, but we can just quickly fix that like this, very easily. Okay. Lovely, and then that's that part done. And then we can do one more sound effect. I've got a cool kind of clap movement going on in my main drums here, and I could perhaps, often I'll use a snare, but I thought for this track I'll just use claps. But whether it's a clap or a snare, I thought I could add in a water can sound, which sounds like this. And again over here. Okay, so it's like someone's hitting a watering can, obviously, but that has a nice, I thought that'd be a great little snare layer, So I thought I'd layer that up with just not on all of my snares, but just on a couple of them. So like this, and they have like slightly different pitches as well. And I haven't really been super religiously strict about getting the right pitch because it's just like a one-off kind of thing. And I quite like that it's not quite in key. So that's one of those moments where I think it's cool to have it a little bit off key. So that's cool too. So with everything back in the drums and everything. Okay, just adds a little bit of weirdness, So that's another cool sound effect. So that's just 5 Foley sounds that I literally just sort of picked the first 5 that I searched for and made them all fit, So you can really go ham with your Foley. You could record some ham. I don't think ham makes much sound, but you can go crazy with like any kind of Foley sound. Get creative with it. Leave a comment down below. Have you ever had some great experience with using Foley sounds, and which ones in particular? Which Foley sounds specifically? These are the first 5 that I found. A fireplace, some bubbles, like a swishing in the air with a stick. A metallic clank, someone hitting a watering can, so many great sounds in the world. What a wonderful world we live in. What a beautiful world full of movement and sound. You know, we can really learn from nature around us and put that into even the most hard, dark, aggressive neurofunk track. Even the darkest style of electronic music will benefit from that little softening and the little natural edge of nature. Thank you very much for listening today and watching me ramble on like an absolute idiot. Let us read out some comments before I go. So on the other video, the Don't Be Perfect one, Blips says, one of my favourite videos of yours. Thank you. Stuff like this is just as important as tutorials for noobs like me or for anyone producing really. I'm sure you're not that much of a noob, mate. Come on. And on the recent video yesterday, bouncing to audio, Digipax says, haha, it's like the video's done for me. I take your advice and see where it takes me and my production. By the way, my CPU already loves your advice. Yeah, great for the CPU, bouncing stuff to audio. It's a tough one, but I agree, says Genius. Slurpdy Dirk says, Mike, love the video and I've been bouncing MIDI tracks ever since you explained what that is. It's easier to manage and control the audio track, especially when you want the sound to stop short. Yeah, exactly. That's one thing I failed to mention on that video. But that is one of the benefits of bouncing to audio. If you've got files with long delays, long tails, you can really cut them off, cut the file, and especially if you're like doing a lot of stuff with delays and reverbs before you drop, you know, that's why I'll always bounce stuff there, especially so that on the drop, I can really ensure that everything's stopped, all the delays and things have stopped, so that you get the maximum impact on the drop when your other new sounds come in. Yeah, so thank you, Mike. Rolled in a Raw, thank you for commenting. I don't think I've heard from you. You said, thank you, I needed to hear this again. When you're told twice the same thing, use it. Legend, thanks. But the Arsenal, really? Just really? Yes, I'm so sorry that I'm self-confessed masochist Arsenal fan. Yeah, we are just, you know, I like supporting the underdogs. You know, I used to actually support Manchester United when I was a kid until we won the treble, and then I got bored because, like, how do you beat that? And then I actually became an Arsenal fan. My dad supports Arsenal, so I should have been an Arsenal fan all along, really. But yeah, anyway. Jay Jackson says that's a funny way to say thanks to someone providing free help and valuable information. Oh, okay. Someone's sticking up for me in the comment section. Thank you, Jack. Another Jack, Jack Kozlowski, my G. Sorry, I'm not very good at pronouncing that name. How close to perfect do you get your sounds before bouncing them out? 80%, for example. That's a good comment actually, because yeah, when I do bounce the sounds out, you know, they might not necessarily be perfect then. So I think 80% is probably quite a good number. Yeah, like as long as it's 80% good, like you can sort of fix the rest of it, fix that last 20% with a bit of post-production if you can. Oh, just do it as best as you can and like bounce it out like once you feel like you've got the best out of it. You know, you don't spend hours and hours on each sound. Once you've spent a good, whether it's like you've made a bass or something, let's say you've been crafting a bass sound for like 20 minutes, you know, that at that point you can probably say that you've done like the best job that you can then, and then bounce it out, you know. But 80% is probably quite a good number. DMZBDG says, can't agree more from the last tips about focusing more Logic DAW. Yeah, I mean, the bouncing to audio video is really universal across all softwares. Maybe it's a bit quicker in Logic, but either way, yeah, it's all good stuff. So thank you for watching, my G's. Hope you have a great day. We're gonna do one more video tomorrow, and then on Saturday I'll be playing a show here in Berlin, and then recovering on Sunday. So after tomorrow's video, we'll have a couple of days break, and then back on next Monday. But yes, see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out. Much love.